space to do anything else.
The Menendez brothers now eligible for parole. Yesterday, a Los Angeles County Superior Court judge reduced their sentence from life in prison to 50 years with the possibility of parole. Brothers have spent the past 35 years behind bars for the shotgun murders of their parents back in 1989. President Trump is now in Qatar on the second stop of his 4-day trip to the Middle East after an historic meeting with Syria's president, the first from an American president in more than 2 decades. Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
Trump this morning marking a major shift in U.S. policy towards Syria, meeting new Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara alongside Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, with President Erdogan of Turkey joining by phone.
With the support of leaders in this room and the great leaders you are, we are currently exploring normalizing relations with Syria's new government.
The face-to-face coming just hours after Trump announced he would lift sanctions on Syria, now that the Assad regime has crumbled.
President touring the Middle East to encourage investment and trade deals in the region. He's also facing heavy criticism over plans to accept a luxury $400 million jet from Qatar. Milwaukee School Board President Missy Zombor backing the new community-funded Superintendent Leader Impact Fund, which allows the district to accept private donations aligned with MPS's strategic goals and recent operational audit. Zombor tells WTMJ the fund stems from Dr. Brenda Cassellius' strong advocacy and her push to build partnerships that support student success, and says the board will be kept informed on how the money is used and its impact on classrooms. The funds are being managed by the Greater Milwaukee Foundation. Meanwhile, Superintendent Cassellius plans to eliminate 31 positions in the central office as part of her restructuring plan. She says these cuts will focus more support on teachers and students.
We would look at the job-embedded positions in this actual school building to be able to support our teachers, and they'll always then have somebody right at hand to be able to support their instruction in the classroom.
As part of the restructuring, Dr. Cassellius also eliminated regional superintendents and intends to hire a chief operations officer. That deadly Mother's Day fire at a Milwaukee apartment complex has left more than 100 people temporarily homeless. American Red Cross of Wisconsin Executive Director Mark Thomas says they've set up a shelter for them at Holler Park.
We're not going to be accepting any clothing at this time. We don't know what we need. There are other nonprofits throughout the community. If people do want to make a donation, I can tell you that people with children are going to need diapers. So if someone wants to make a donation to the diaper mission, they can feel free to do that. People are going to need food. If they want to go to a local food pantry, make a donation, they can do that. There are still people that are hospitalized. They can always go and donate blood.
5 people were killed in that fire on Sunday. Time for news about your money at the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed picture on Wall Street with the Dow down 65 points, the Nasdaq up 51, and the S&P 500 down 9. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:05.
When a crane collapsed during construction of a Major League sports stadium, 3 workers lost their lives. Their widows called us. When maintenance workers were permanently injured by an industrial accident at a public utilities power plant, the 7 injured workers called us. When a factory exploded, injuring dozens of workers, 18 victims, including all 3 families of men who lost their lives, called us. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
We see you out there, building a life you love, knowing that when inspiration strikes, nothing should get in your way. At Blaine's, we're here to help with everything you need to make it happen at prices that make it possible. Like 15% off assorted Kurt trailer hitch accessories, name brand tires, or buy 3, get 1 free for rewards members. Plus, as a family-owned business, we offer the Blaine's Best Price Promise, guaranteeing you'll always find the lowest price with us, or we'll match it. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
Highlight your long weekend when the Brewers kick off a 3-game series against the Red Sox on Memorial Day, featuring the best way to start summer, Dollar Hot Dog Day. Keep the summer vibes going into the week as kids and seniors can get 50% off select tickets at the game on Wednesday, May 28th. What's better than a long weekend? Brewers baseball and Dollar Hot Dogs. Find your seats today at brewers.com.
You've got several kids, or your job and other commitments keep you buried with work.
Meanwhile, the clutter is piling up at home. How can people stay tidy when their lives are in chaos?
We have a solution to help you chase away the chaos.
Yes. He's Dan, and I'm Katie. Together, we're Inspired Closets.
Our team at Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space via gorgeous closet renovations.
And our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer. Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
And for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk, Brewers shut out by the Guardians for the second straight day. Milwaukee had just 3 hits in his 2-0 loss to Cleveland, clinching a series loss. Teams wrap up their series this afternoon. Packers will host at least one Monday Night Football game this season. The NFL announced Green Bay will host the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles November 10th. Packers lost to the Eagles in both the regular season and playoffs last season. The rest of the league schedule will be released later today. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-41 north about a mile beyond I-41. The left shoulder, I-43 north rather, beyond a mile from I-41 north. The left shoulder blocked there due to a crash, but it is off left. I-94 west about a mile and a quarter beyond the ramp from Blue Mound Road. The right shoulder there blocked due to a broken down vehicle.
Traffic is sponsored by Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. Live life to the fullest at Capri's Enjoy Life Symposium on June 4th. This free event for older adults includes speakers, exhibitors, activities, and more. Register at enjoylifesymposium.com.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated showers inland this afternoon and this evening. High 67 to 77. We could see some fog overnight with a low 50. Chance of thunderstorms late tomorrow. Some could be severe. 74 lakeside, 83 for the high inland. Slight chance of showers and storms on Friday with a high of 79. Partly cloudy, breezy Saturday, 65. And partly cloudy Sunday with a high 57. 65 in Madison, 70 in Green Bay, and 57 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time 10:09.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristen Bry.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, you know.
Are you going to do it?
I'm going to do it. Happy Hump Day, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's that middle of the week. You know, you have to. It's like people expect it. If
what
I don't
day it is?
There we go.
Huh? Anybody?
What?
Julie, hey, guess what day it is?
Come
on, I know you can hear me.
You a little Camel Geico Hump Day figurine.
You should.
That you can just bring in here as your little buddy every Wednesday.
I don't know if you ever seen Dan Patrick's show on television.
I've never watched it on television.
Okay.
I think I grew up listening to my dad listening to it, though.
He's surrounded by tchotchke, like helmets and figurines.
Bobbleheads.
So I actually have had this idea for a while. So I have a couple bobbleheads that look like me that people gave me.
You have multiple bobbleheads.
Yeah,
that
one
look
was
like you.
Mayor, one's Farmer Steve. I think there's a couple other ones that people sent me over the years, which is very
cool. Do they
cool.
get them custom made, or are they selling these somewhere?
They take a picture of you, apparently, and you send it to a company, and then they craft a bobblehead out of you.
I want a bobblehead.
All right, all you bobblehead folks.
I feel like the bobblehead will have big hair. It'll be great.
Today you're rocking the Wilma Flintstone.
the Wilma Flintstone today.
Oh, forgot. Oh, I have a great.
You want tchotchkes surrounding you.
Yeah, so
we share this space, so you can't really do that.
I don't care.
You can bring them in every day and set them up in the 6 minutes we have between shows.
But I just got a representation of my grandson Max's face, full size, on a little stick. I'm going to bring that and stick it in here somewhere.
One of those big heads?
Yeah.
We were cleaning up, as I already have admitted, that my choice for Mother's Day was to clean out the garage, which says something about me. But besides that, we still had a big head from the Bucks championship of Pat Connaughton.
Nice.
That my husband had stole, and we just still had it
in
the garage.
Stole?
Stolen? He had stolen?
Really?
Well, I don't know if we were supposed to leave with them, but everyone was in such a good mood that no one was really stopping us.
I think he's good.
They didn't really fit under his shirt. He's a big guy, but not that big.
No, I think he's good. All right. We're going to a hard pivot here, because this is a story I think that people want to talk about. And it's certainly been on our minds. I actually interviewed Chief Lipsky yesterday, and I know he had a big press conference after that. We have some audio from that, apparently. It has to do with a question that a lot of people ask whenever there's a serious fire, any fire. In the case of deadly fires, and we certainly had one in Milwaukee recently. The question of sprinklers. Now, if you stayed in a hotel room, if you've been in any new building, you know that there's sprinklers. You see them. Mm-hmm. Hotel, you lay in bed, look up.
It's also a very stark reminder always to not hang any of your clothing from the sprinkler system.
No, that is a no-no. That will get you in serious trouble, if not activating the sprinkler system, which will cost you.
Flood the building.
Yes, which is not a good thing. So I guess the question has always been, why are we not sprinkling every building? And it comes up. I remember when I was serving in Oak Creek. Why isn't that requirement for sprinklers being added to these redevelopment opportunities in existing buildings, older buildings?
Older buildings specifically.
Yes. And the question has always been out there. And there's been some commentary from the state legislature that they like to talk about it.
This is what the law is. So buildings constructed before 1974 with certain sizes, shapes, dimensions, and occupancy are not required by law to have sprinklers. So, Wisconsin, there's a lot of older buildings. In Milwaukee alone, there's 220 residential buildings in the city. That's about 14,500 housing units that are exempt from the city's code for sprinkler systems. Right. And so I think on its face, we kind of would imagine, is there a cost to human life? Because as we have heard from Chief Lipsky yesterday during his press conference.
The building was built in 1968. There was no sprinklers whatsoever in the area where humans spend most of their time in this building. No standpipes for us to use.
And so whether it's Chief Lipsky, whether it's other fire department heads have all said it can save lives, right? There's no question about that as far as how much safer a building is if there's a sprinkler system in place. However, who's going to pay for it?
Yeah, and that's always the age-old question. Is it the landlords, the owners who pay, or does that just get passed on to the tenants? And I think most of us who have talked to developers over the years understand that it's going to get passed on, at least in some form or fashion. But it is an interesting debate because I've talked to a ton of fire chiefs over the years. I used to go to some of their meetings. I obviously worked with a lot of these folks. I just interviewed, as I said, Chief Lipsky yesterday. They would love to see these things installed everywhere because it makes people safer. And we're going to be doing a great story next week on Salute the Service about a firefighter who was burned significantly over a portion of his body in a building that didn't have some of these protections and had a lot of other issues besides that. For me, it's always been the question of cost. Can you say to a developer in an old building, you know what, you're going to have to put them in?
Well, if it's an old building, there is no developer. There's a landlord. There's an owner of the building.
No, I'm saying in an older building that's being transformed into something else.
Well, if it's being transformed, they actually have to put it
in. And not in every municipality, but most.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's part of that. But certainly there's a safety piece here, but there's a cost that goes with that. And I think that's always been the argument.
So this is the thing. So there is Scott Cobb of Sprinkler Fitters Local 183, obviously a union. He said that the cost in a new building is $3 per square foot. And in older buildings, it can be $4 to $7 per square foot. Mm-hmm. So it's basically the equivalent of expensive carpet. Now, I have never built a building. I have done very minimal renovations on my own house to understand how expensive this is. That does not seem wildly expensive to me.
Yeah, and I've talked to a lot of developers, and the costs are not what you just said that he said. They say much higher numbers.
So what's his incentive to lie about this?
I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying it's a different number than I've heard.
What is the quote that you've heard?
Double digits as far as
per square foot.
Per square foot, yeah. $20, $15. Then you start talking about these massive, buildings. It gets pretty pricey. And again, who's going to pay that cost? What do we already know when we talk about people that are renting apartments? It's already exploding in cost because there's not a lot of options for people. You're going to add more, $100, $200 to their monthly rent to pay for these sprinklers. Now, I'm a fan of sprinklers. I don't want to sit here and people think I'm not. I think they should be utilized. There are other ways that you can do some of these things, and one of the ways that I've often suggested to developers or even people just redoing their existing space, there's wired smoke detectors, not battery operated. They generally, the systems have wired right into their electric, or they have both. Battery and electric. So if your power's out, the battery kicks in. That's probably a much more cost-efficient way to do this.
Is it? Do you know that?
I do know that because I have, and when I did my first expansion in my house, all wired. They work great. Whenever you have smoke, boom, they go off. And you don't have to worry so much about the battery.
I can't imagine they're as effective as a sprinkler system.
No, of course not.
That's
suppression. I'm just saying that's one of the things we might be helpful in this story. We cannot afford to have people lose their lives on Mother's Day.
That's what I'm saying as far as this, at what cost?
Yes,
I
understand.
Saying, there's discrepancies between how expensive it is. And it sounds like there are building owners who are opting in to do this without it being a regulation, which is great.
Sure.
And the question just becomes, should it be regulated? And if so, who's paying for it?
The state certainly should be more open to it, and I'm talking to Speaker Robin Vos here that, I understand you're a big landlord, and I understand there's costs associated, and I'm sensitive to that because I've, again, worked with a lot of developers. But at some point, it's about saving lives, and I'm sick and tired of just hearing the cost of something being the barrier to actually doing something positive for the health and safety of our residents. That's part of the equation, not the whole story.
All right. Well, let's take a break quickly. Actually, I would love to get your input when we get back on how it's not as much as it used to be, but at one point, a lot of our legislature were also landlords, and that's reflected in some of our laws. So we've never talked about this before, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. So stay with us on Point Taken on WTMJ.
Brew Crew Tuesdays are back on May 20th.
Churio sends it deep to left, and there she goes!
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Baltimore Orioles.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh my goodness, third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in May 20th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for Badger Fence. I love talking about my fence. It looks beautiful. Cedar. People always ask me about it. I still have my Badger logo right on the front gate there. It was installed about 5 years ago, but they've been installing fences, get this, since 1945. Proud member of the Better Business Bureau, A+ rating, as good as it gets, as well as a member of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Whether it's privacy, security, wide choice of fence styles, or price, Badger Fence is the right company. Licensed, bonded, insured, usually the best materials in the industry. 76 years of experience matters, people. And whether you want wood, which is what we chose, ornamental, chain link, they have great design options. PVC is catching fire, looking awesome. They can help you choose the right materials for your fence project. And when it comes to quality, unmatched. They're as good as it gets. And at the most competitive prices. We love our new wood fence. It's changed our backyard. Kath and I, when we were shopping around, we chose Badger Fence. And you should too. Go to badgerfence.com right now. Tell them Scafidi from WTMJ sent you.
Why is Ben walking around handing out cigars?
He's celebrating the new edition. Have a cigar.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Do you have a photo?
Of course. Here.
Wait, that's the Rowan bedroom collection.
I know. Isn't it beautiful? The Rowan is one fine-looking bedroom collection. Yeah, it gets its good looks from me. Come see our new edition, the Rowan bedroom collection, with king bed, 9-drawer dresser, mirror, and 2-drawer nightstand, starting at $92.40 at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
You gotta love Google because the internet never forgets. So I knew I couldn't remember the exact numbers, and even these numbers now are a little outdated. But Wisconsin has more favorable landlord laws than other states.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Well, we also have had, currently do still have, a fair amount of representatives and state senators who also moonlight as landlords. And this, I found quickly, a story that was originally published in June of 2019, and from Mary Spikuza and Carrie Spivak over at Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And at that point, so this is now 5-ish years ago, so almost 6 years ago, 1 out of 5 state lawmakers also managed rental properties or owned rental properties. How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it.
You're totally fine with it.
Well,
you don't think there's a conflict of interest
why
there?
would we demonize
I'm not
property
demonizing
owners?
it. I'm just saying
you asked me if I was fine with it.
You don't think there's any kind of conflict of interest there as far as being lawmakers and also making the laws then to be
That's a different question.
favorable to their financial interests?
There's all kinds of conflicts of interest that happen every day in the legislature. There's people that work in the finance industry. There's people that work as realtors and real estate agents. There's people that you mentioned that are landlords. We hope, now this is where it gets interesting, that they would set aside their personal feelings and do what's right for the citizens. Is there a question to be asked there? Absolutely. Because one in 5 is a big number.
This is what the investigation looked at, right?
So
is that since 2011, which is obviously when there was a huge sweep of, basically, since the Republicans have had control of the legislature, the amount of laws promoting the interests of landlords, that's when it really started to pivot and increase. And I guess you're right as far as, first of all, they are supposed to be full-time positions. So that gets into a discussion of what do you have to disclose? What professions do you have to give up in order to be a full-time lawmaker in a state legislature, which probably pays less than what they make as landlords or as, I think, other jobs that they might have.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't sit right. It doesn't feel great.
I'm fine with it because they are allowing people the opportunity to have a place to live. I mean, we forget about that part of this. They're providing opportunities and places for people to live.
I'm not demonizing landlords or people who own property.
You're demonizing landlords who are legislators.
Yes, and then changing the laws to favor their financial interests.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens.
So that's just the way the cookie crumbles?
That's the way politics works. Everybody's got vested interests, right? That's sort of how it works. I'll just say this. I'll baseline it. I want the interests of renters to be protected. I want the health and safety of people who are renting property to be protected. When going back to our sprinkler conversation, somehow, some way, we need logic to sort of infiltrate what is obviously a biased process. But here's the thing about politics. It's inherently biased because we have two parties, essentially, who have vastly different ideas about how we do things. And at the end of the day, maybe this goes to a bigger argument that you and I have had before, not an argument, but a conversation about why a balanced legislature makes more sense. Because I think, and I'll say this out loud, when you have a balanced legislature representing both sides, where both sides are allowed to speak and actually introduce legislation and have a conversation about legislation, you get a better end product, which is the law that protects the very things we're talking about. That's how it works.
Are you advocating for fair maps right now, Steve?
Well, sort of. Yeah, sort of. Good. That was a good one.
All right. Let's take another break. When we come back, what are we going to talk about? Are we going to stay on this, or do you want to start talking about this Biden drama?
This Biden drama. Drama's the word. Oh, yeah. That's next.
That's next on Point Taken.
Escape the city and relax at Lake Lawn Resort in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin. Enjoy outdoor activities on Delavan Lake, tee off at the Lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind at the award-winning Caladora Spa. With both indoor and outdoor pools, there's fun for the whole family. Take a cruise on the Lake Lawn Queen, explore stunning shores and historic landmarks, and enjoy delicious food and drinks on board. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com, where everything is better at the lake.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scafidi, and I will always celebrate and tell you about Loyal Family Renovations. They were a game changer for us. We had the bad storms in Oak Creek last year. Remember the hail damage? We had a lot of it. Jeff, Jake, and his whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process as smooth as possible. They worked with my insurance company. We actually sat on my patio. Jeff, my wife Kathy, and I, and our insurance adjuster, and all talked this through. And they know how to deal with the adjusters. I didn't, frankly. And something like this, a roof replacement, was way past my pay grade. Quick answers, top-notch customer service, and in just 2 days, they had completely stripped my old roof, replaced it. It looks clean, all new metal and flashing. It looks fantastic. They even picked up every last nail that fell on the ground. They have this tool that magnetizes it and picks them up. I was impressed. I told everybody in my neighborhood about it. If you have storm damage, or if it hits, and we have a storm warning on Thursday potentially, call the team that made it easy for me, Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
If you've ever worried about your heart, if you've ever loved someone with heart disease, if you've ever wondered if you're the one at risk, let's remind ourselves that we are not powerless. Because at the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we're pushing to outsmart heart and vascular disease by working with you personally to understand your history, assess your risks, and guide you to heart strength. By digging deep with tireless research and offering access to leading-edge clinical trials. And for the most serious conditions, including heart failure, heart valve disease, arrhythmias, and vascular diseases, we provide renowned expertise and the most advanced life-saving procedures you expect from academic medicine. So let's get out in front of heart disease. Let's outsmart it. Let's keep pushing so that every one of us can outrun it and embrace every beautiful day life in Wisconsin has to offer. To learn more about our nationally renowned heart and vascular care, visit froedtert.com/heart.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary.
The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
The legendary Ringo Starr is bringing his all-star band, featuring Steve Lukather from Toto, Men at Work's, Colin Hay, and Hamish Stewart of Average White Band, back to Milwaukee, September 12th, performing at the Miller High Life Theater. 61 years after the Beatles performed in Milwaukee in 1964. We will be giving away 1 pair of tickets each hour on What's on Tap with me, Sandy Max, this week, Wednesday and Thursday. Tune in for your chance to win. Tickets go on sale starting Friday, May 16th at PabstTheaterGroup.com.
I hope that wasn't on purpose. I love the song.
I'm sure it was on purpose. All right, so we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Original Sin. This has been a media darling, I feel like, in the last 24 hours to talk about. There's multiple different takes. There's the aspect we're talking about Jake Tapper's new book. Was it Alex Thompson?
Alex Thompson from Axios.
From Axios is the other journalist. We talked about this yesterday, and I think the reason this is a story that is getting as much coverage as it is there's multiple different layers to it. There's on its face the revelations that are in the book, right? We talked about some of that yesterday as far as physical deterioration and thoughts that Biden might need to be in a wheelchair. There was the fact that George Clooney, at a fundraiser that he threw for Biden, it seemed like Biden didn't recognize him. So there's stuff that's actually in the book. Then there is from certain folks, I would say the feedback and the criticism of Tapper and Thompson is, why are you reporting on this now? Like, we have someone in the president's office right now who is taking planes from Qatar, who is trying to suspend habeas corpus and all these things as far as like focus on the current administration. Who cares about looking at the past? And then there was also criticism of the authors saying, you guys are part of the reason that this was covered up in the first place. And so which angle of that interests you the most, Steve?
First of all, big Jake Tapper fan. And I would say of all the journalists that cover news, political news on the networks, I trust him probably more than most of them. He actually has talked about this. And we probably have some audio of that at some point. He said the White House lied to him. And I don't know why we would give the White House staff under the Biden administration a free pass. They lied to the American people about the condition of the President of the United States. And yes, journalists should have done more to find out, but if you're being lied to, at the end of the day, you have to report what the White House staff says about this president. And let's look at the difference. Not that I'm a Trump fan, you know I'm not. The accessibility of this president versus the last. There were weeks we didn't see Joe Biden.
You can't deny that. As far as this is a guy who President Trump loves being in the media.
Absolutely.
And certainly, I mean, I don't know how you measure that beyond the painstaking work of actually going back and documenting how many times he gave an interview or not. But yeah, I would say, as we talked about yesterday, that Biden benefited from the fact that the first 2 years we were still kind of in lockdown with COVID restrictions of how much he had to have exposure to anyone in the White House staff, let alone the media.
Let's wrap around the news. Let's get now for the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The CDC announcing today that drug overdose deaths in the U.S. fell by 30,000 in 2024 from the prior year. That's the largest one-year decline ever recorded. Some possible reasons why: more treatment and the fact that Narcan is more widely available now. President Trump continues his three-nation Middle East trip. In Qatar, he took part in a signing ceremony. Qatar said it had agreed to buy jets from Boeing.
It's actually 200, including the 40, so it's over $200 billion. But 160 in terms of the jets. That's fantastic. So that's a record, Kelly. And congratulations to Boeing. Get those planes out there. Get them out there.
Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg was on hand for the ceremony. The visit coming after Qatar offered to give the president a $400 million Boeing plane to be used as Air Force One. Questions being raised about accepting such a gift. Cassie Ventura back on the stand in her former boyfriend Sean Combs' sex trafficking trial. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. A 21-year-old woman convicted in the fatal stabbing of another woman during an attempted drug deal in Fond du Lac. Prosecutors say Annika Trudell stabbed 33-year-old Ashley Kalo after a fight over a Percocet deal. Kalo's 3-year-old son was in the car at the time but wasn't hurt. Co-defendant Dawson Miller goes to trial in October. 3 people shot and wounded at last night on Milwaukee's northwest side, 37th and Lancaster. 2 seriously hurt. No arrests yet. State lawmakers debating a bill to add Wisconsin to the growing list of states banning K-12 students from using cell phones in schools while class is in session. The bill proposes that school boards adopt a uniform cell phone policy with exceptions for emergencies, health needs, and educational purposes. The bill would require schools to implement cell phone policies by July of 2026. Here's the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up just 4 points, 42,144. The Nasdaq is up 114 to 19,124. The S&P 500 is up 8 points, 5,895. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic, we have a couple of crashes. I-94 West, about a half mile beyond the ramp from County SS. That crash is blocking the left lane. There is some slowing in that area. I-43 North, almost a mile beyond I-41 North, the left shoulder there blocked due to a crash. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy today with isolated afternoon, evening showers inland. High 67 to 77. We could see some fog overnight with a low 50. Chance of thunderstorms late tomorrow, some severe. High 74 to 83. Slight chance of showers and storms Friday afternoon and evening. It'll be windy with a high 79. Partly cloudy, breezy Saturday, 65. And partly cloudy Sunday, a high of 57. 65 in Madison, 70 in Green Bay, 64 in Waukesha. And in Milwaukee, we have 57 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:33.
You can search for the biggest bat selection, but I'm here to save you time because the best baseball and softball bat selection in the Midwest is right here at Burkhardt Sporting Goods. We stock just about every bat on the market from all the top manufacturers like Easton, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Marucci, and more, and sell them all at the guaranteed lowest prices. So get in here and try a few out in our indoor batting cages. There's no need to look any further because when it comes to bats, if you want it, we got it at Burkhardt Sporting Goods.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
When you run a team, you want great uniforms, and you know selling spiritware is vital. That's why Burkhardt Sporting Goods will create a free custom website for you to sell your families and players the coolest spiritware from Nike and Under Armour, as well as the basics, while helping you fundraise at the same time. We take the hassle out of coordinating your team's apparel and make shopping and buying easy. So when you need awesome spiritware and uniforms for your organization, you can't beat Burkhardt.
You can't beat Burkhardt.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Historic Fox & Hound Supper Club gift cards make perfect year-round birthday, anniversary, and thank you gifts. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, it's like getting a free gift card. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com and enjoy your free dinner.
Active Liver is the easy way to get a daily detox to keep you healthy and feeling your best. Find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to AdventKnows.com.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hump Day, as we like to call it. Kristen and Steve on the Point Taken program. Thanks.
Do we like to call it that, or do you like to call it that?
Oh, you caught me. So we always enjoy when you guys text, and the text line is all over the place. And thanks for the interest in the topic. So I'm not going to read them because we sort of moved past this, but I love the fact that you take interest in the topics. And whether it's negative or positive feedback, I love the feedback. So we're always going to pay attention to the text line. We're not going to read all of them because there's a lot of them. We get hundreds of texts during the show. But thanks for that interest, and thanks for finding us in the podcast. Our numbers are fantastic. And speaking of
Point, if you would like us to send you the link to the podcast so you can subscribe and maybe even rate it, review it. Give us some stars. If you text POINT to 855-616-1620, we will send you the link to our show page where you can also find the link to Apple, link to Spotify, wherever you subscribe to your podcast.
Yeah, that reminds me, we got to make T-shirts for Point Taken, too.
How different is that going to be? Should we put, you know what that we should do? Because you were a very big fan of the fan art that we got. I think it was probably through one of the AI things of a picture of us. They gave you a gun, though. They did not give me a gun, but it was like an illustration of what it would look like if we were in a buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
You wanted to get that framed and put it in your office.
I still want to get that blown up. So
maybe you'll put that on a shirt.
What's the process
But I need to get a gun, too. We either both get guns or neither of us have guns.
I might be shooting a gun as early as this
Either that or
afternoon.
I get like a
cigarette.
Like a little cigarette.
Yeah, just holding the cigarette with the smoke wafting off of it. Long time ago, I asked for permission to have a cigar in studio. Not lit, but just... And they gave me permission.
So you could just chew on it?
Yeah. The taste is awesome.
All right.
Anyway.
So
let's go back to the Biden thing.
Go back to the Biden thing, but also
me.
Just because it is Hump Day, a reminder that Ask Us Anything during the 11 o'clock hour. If you would like to ask us anything, certainly start texting in your questions. And we'll also take your calls coming up at 11:08 for the second hour of Short Show.
Yeah, we have
All right.
Brewers coming
Now
up
let's
early.
talk about Biden.
All right, so the story is the book Original Sin, written by Alex Thompson from Axios and Jake Tapper from CNN. And admittedly, a big Jake Tapper fan. I try to watch some or all of his program every day, either live or later. And I think he offers a viewpoint, I think, that a lot of people have been talking about for a while, and that's the condition of President Joe Biden in the last couple of years of his presidency. And you mentioned correctly so that the pandemic shielded him a bit. So we didn't have the public exposure that most presidents have. Now, there's a stark difference between what Donald Trump is doing and what Joe... And there's not a day doesn't go by where Trump's not doing a presser or an opportunity for the media to talk to him. Now, what he says is sometimes bat guano crazy.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah. But at least he's out there, right? Now
he's certainly out there. That's
and he's had
sure.
some old mad moments recently, including falling asleep apparently yesterday in his Middle Eastern trip, which was
was the thing. How was there not more? Because everyone was so upset about the blue suit at the Pope's funeral, and then it was like, well, there was more people in a blue suit than maybe that picture initially showed. But the fact that he fell asleep, that felt like the bigger story than the blue suit. Anyways, go ahead.
So I think it's a great question because we have a right as citizens to know what our president, his cognitive abilities are, his physical. That's why we used to get those reports, right? Now they're like manufactured and fake. The medical annual medicals.
We don't know that they're fake.
There's a lot of people who think they.
I mean, he's certainly not. He does not have President Trump does not have the physique of Chris Hemsworth, which is the same
and they're both
stature.
the same weight and same sort of height.
Apparently,
it's like, how is that discrepancy handled in the wake of this report?
Anyways.
But I think we have a right to know this. Now, I am not buying into it. And to the texter who says you rely on Jake Tapper. I'm not saying I rely on him. I listen to what he says and I judge it accordingly. I'm not going to call him out for not calling out the Biden administration. He says in an interview last night on CNN. That they were being lied to by this administration and the president at the time, Joe Biden.
So this is I feel like the journalists who, and then a lot of these, Tapper included, right? A lot of these people, because you are in a public profession, there are receipts. There is Jake Tapper's show. There are articles that were written as far as the quote-unquote tappers of the world, people who are accused of being in the liberal biased media, and whether or not they were part of the problem as far as providing cover for whatever health issues Biden was having. Like the clip that's getting shared right now is Jake Tapper interviewing Laura Trump and him... kind of calling her a conspiracy theorist.
Is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable.
You have no. I can't. It's so amazing. It's so amazing to me that
try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking his stutter. Yeah, I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses. diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed.
So he has some point as far as who are you to diagnose anyone. But so that clip's getting shared, and I think right now it's putting some of these journalists in a bad spot where it is you either have to admit that you were part of the cover-up and your own bias, or you have to admit that you weren't doing a good enough job as a journalist to dig a little bit deeper during the administration.
So you think Jake Tapper's a bad journalist?
I'm saying it doesn't put him in the best light to be the one who's also putting this book out.
Someone's got to tell the story. Someone's going to have to write a book. This is the first of many books that we're going to hear about Joe Biden and what happened in the 4 years of his presidency. So I actually credit him for actually writing the damn book in the first place. No journalist is perfect.
No.
And I'm not going to sit here as a non-journalist and critique the way he approached this story. You can only go with the information you're provided. And if you didn't play the audio where he says we were lied to by the administration over and over again. Well, what do you do with that other than saying you think the administration's lying about what they're telling us about the president?
So where do they go from here? Where does the media go from here as far as you have a lot of aggrieved people in the public who now feel vindicated as far as being gaslit, what they felt like they were being gaslit for the last couple of years. So how does, one, the media earn trust back? And the other part of this that I'm more interested in is this is not an isolated incident once it comes to the Democrats. Ruth Bader Ginsburg should have retired. Dianne Feinstein should have retired. Biden probably should not have waited so long to step down from running again. And not even the age thing, but we also, as we've talked about in this show, the Fetterman situation, as far as like what responsibility do Democrats have to hold people in their party accountable to say, hey, listen, it's time to move on.
It's not just Democrats. All elected officials, should we have cognitive tests that say they can actually perform the duties of their job? I did whole hours on this subject years ago, and people always came to the same conclusion. That's not how the process works. There's a way to remove elected officials. We're not going to cognitive test everybody. Who's setting that standard, and why do we think that wouldn't be politicized?
How do you think you'd do on a cognitive test?
Brilliantly.
What was the one at the end of Trump's first term with the square, circle, pants, man, woman? I know I'm butchering that, but what test did he take that they?
Here's the thing with elected officials. We got a break. Here's the thing with elected officials. If you ask them about their own cognitive ability, they'll do what I just did. They'll say brilliant. So what good is it?
Out of the park. Never been better.
Huge numbers.
I'm the first one to admit that after having a baby, some of my recall a little shaky.
Look, this is going back a few years.
I used bylines for bylaws yesterday.
Yeah, I killed enough brain cells in high school. I'm surprised I'm still doing this. Kristen, right. Steve, point taken. Lots more to get to. Do it after this.
Just when you think you see an opening, that's when we shut the door and throw away the key.
1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. McGill elevated a fastball at 99. Her fifth shutout of the season.
The Brewers head to Cleveland to take on the Guardians. Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts today at 11:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. I was just talking about it with my pal Kristen about my dream trip to Hawaii. 50th state for me. Yes, getting a tattoo to honor that, but I'll tell you about that later. November of 2026. You got plenty of time, but don't wait because it will sell out. We're already halfway there. I'm inviting all fans of the show, listeners to the show, 3-island itinerary in November of 2026. Oahu, Big Island of Hawaii, Maui. Of course, we're going to visit Pearl Harbor, Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, and a coffee plantation in Kona. Luau, of course, have to do it. We're going to visit the Maui Aquatic Center. Active itinerary? Absolutely, but we built in free days. Do whatever you want. You can surf, you can go to the beach, you can hang out at the pool, you can drink your Mai Tais or whatever drink you want to drink. And as I said, we'll make a very unique tattoo experience. And I still need a design, by the way. So all you graphic designers, your tattoo artists out there, give me a design. 50 states, Hawaii. You want to find out about this trip, do not wait. It will sell out. And we have people booking every day. 866-GO-FOX-GO. 866-GO-FOX-GO. Or go to my show page at WTMD.com. Do not miss out. There's a significant early booking discount. You want to go on this trip. We're going to have a blast. Best of Hawaii is what it's called with yours truly. Call today.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
My name is Emma. I'm 25 years old, and I work at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. And I just love what I do here because I feel like I helped a lot of people. I hope that other kids can have a goal that they can move out and live independently too. I've had all these opportunities because somebody said yes to me.
Live life to the fullest with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that supports people with disabilities throughout their lives. Connect with a real-time navigator at thinkabilitywi.org today.
When you hear that air conditioner working overtime, it's already past the time you should have USA Insulation out to the house. Vince Vitrano here. Give that AC unit and your electric bills a break by making a long-term investment that pays you back. USA Insulation is the answer to saving on your heating and cooling costs from day one. Between the heating and cooling season, that's when Jeff and his team have the most room on the schedule. Tell them Vinny sent you. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Welcome back.
Woman, man,
Psych.
camera, TV.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it was.
Yeah. What's that about?
We were at the very end of Donald Trump's first administration.
Oh, yeah.
He had taken some kind of cognitive test.
Yeah.
And when he was talking about it, I couldn't remember what the list of things that he had to identify.
Yeah.
I think he had to remember them in order or something.
Yeah.
You remember. You would pass the cognitive test in flying colors. Of course you remember.
You know what one of the cognitive tests they do is they have you draw on a clock circle like 11:10. It's actually harder than you think.
As far as
where the
being able
hands go.
To measure.
Yeah, where the hands go.
Oh, like the time 11:10.
Yeah, 11:10. And people get it wrong. Because you flip them or it's sort of a...
I think I would be able to do that. And I'm a youngster. I grew up on digital clocks.
Yeah. That's why I love the clock in the bottom of the hour, top of the hour, because the youngsters don't really look at that.
They don't know what you're talking about. You're like, why is it called the bottom of the hour?
I don't know if they do or not, but I just love to say it and talk about it. Because it sounds like it makes me an oldie, which I appreciate, because I am an oldie. Celebrating the oldness.
Speaking of being old, you're so old that you've gone to all 50 states. I don't know if those two things are actually correlated or not.
Soon to have gone to all 50 states. I'm very excited about that trip because it's cool. And I love the fact that people are calling every day. And I got to get back to my habit of saying who the people are, first names, who are signing up, because we had 4 signed up yesterday, apparently.
Ooh.
I love that. So every day we get a little, of more people. And I get it's November of 26.
Yeah, it's a ways away.
Yeah, we don't typically do them that far out.
A lot of things can happen between now and then.
Like what?
I could have another baby between now and then.
You could, physically.
Like
yes, you
physically,
could.
if we started trying now.
Mentally?
That's a different question. Put you on the hook for during my maternity leave to be doing this solo for a little while.
Speaking of that, I'm doing the show tomorrow solo.
You are doing it
You're
solo.
doing a cool event. We're going to talk about a little bit later.
We're talking about it next. But all right, so let's talk about.
Yes.
You want to talk about
tourism?
Hawaii?
Yeah. Well, I've talked about Hawaii. Let's talk about tourism.
So I feel like we touched on this, but now we actually have some numbers as far as our relations with other countries, how people in other countries are viewing us. So kind of a combination between foreign relations, a rising dollar, and also fears about what it's going to take to get into the country when there's stories as far as people being detained when they don't have a hotel room booked yet. So the World Travel and Tourism Council projects that the U.S. is going to lose $12.5 billion in travel revenue in 2025, which is a 7% dip from last year and a 22.5% dip from 2019.
Why do you think that is?
For all the reasons I just listed.
No, personally, why? What's the big reason? Why do you think that is? People I'll answer my own question. The people have a negative impression of the country right now.
I think it's a negative impression of the country. Those stories, I would say even as a U.S. citizen, thinking about what vacations do we want to take this year, I'm kind of like, do we want to travel abroad and deal with having to get back into the country? Because not only that, but there's more stories of comedians and Hassan Piker, which we were going to talk about, but got bumped because they should have given us 3 hours, not just 2 hours.
Right.
But once you getting detained, when you come back into the country, people them going through your phone, asking what you do for a living. I mean, you don't think if you and I left the country and came back and they're like, what do you do for a living? And we were like, we're radio talk show hosts. What do you talk about your show? Politics. Do you talk about the president? I mean, if they're asking comedians that, you don't think they'd ask us that?
That's why I have global entry, because it scans my face. I don't have to talk to anybody.
Entry.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean,
I do think about that.
The fact that I have thought about that as one of the variables when we're thinking about vacation this year, I certainly think that people traveling abroad, when they have lots of options of where they would like to go for a vacation, it's not on the list as far as, do we want to go to the U.S.?
It's not one, and brilliant point. It's not one thing or the other. It's other countries all over the world. It's Germany, it's UK, South Korea, Canada, Ireland, Spain. All those folks who used to come here for their vacation, the numbers are dropping as high as 33% from Ireland, 28% from Germany. That's a big drop. And here's the thing that
U.S.
bothers
travel from Canada is down 30%.
Here's what bothers me about that. You know who takes the hit? The small business operator, the resort owner, not the government. They'll take some hit, but those folks who are small business owners who are going to
rely on tourism.
Yeah, that sucks. And by the way, there's another piece of this. I haven't talked about this in a while, but I used to bring this up on Ask Steve, on If Steve Ruled the World. One thing you could do to sort of have me give you a stern look is to say, I never go anywhere. I like it where I live. Shut up. Go experience the state you live in. Go experience the country you live in. What are you doing?
Here's a question.
Get in your car.
This is a question to pose right now and probably do a deeper dive on another day. Do you think there is a correlation between people who still live in the town they were born in and their political leanings?
I don't know. Maybe.
Think about it.
Maybe.
It's a story discussion for another day. We'll be back after this on Point Taken.
From the post-game show to the morning show, there's no rest for baseball and Dominic Cotroneo.
I was like a kid on Christmas Eve. I couldn't sleep last night. I was just so excited to get ready to watch games that count.
Dominic Cotroneo is our Brewers 360 guest every Monday morning at 8:45 on Wisconsin's Morning News.
There are some roster decisions I do want to break down here, and then we'll get into the lineup.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited and Big Fish Contracting.
All right, let's talk about Milwaukee weight loss. I've been on this journey for 3 months. I'll be on this journey for the rest of my life because it changed my life. It's the secret to losing 1 pound of fat every day. I've lost about 40 pounds. Their doctors developed. Easy to follow. I followed it. You can certainly follow it. Helps you lose weight fast, naturally, safely. No drugs, no injections, no risk of serious side effects. None of the gimmicky stuff like the meals, bars, and shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to, but I encourage you to do some light walking. I try to hit my goal every day. Their program helps reset your metabolism. That's what it did for me. You keep the weight off for good. You feel good. You have coaches. Mine's Emily. Does an outstanding job at Milwaukee Weight Loss. They're all great. All their coaches are great. I have a bunch of different ones. Their program, get this, costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Schedule your free consultation. Lots of people I know. Jose is doing the program. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. You can be a success story like me. Call 262-449-1180 or go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from my friend Pam.
Good friends of ours moved there, and they had invited us over for dinner a number of times. And they said, we waited way too long. You should come when you're younger. They had no idea it was going to be this great. There are just so many things to do, and it keeps you young. I mean, we have a lot of residents who are pushing 100. I believe they're there and still alive because of Three Pillars.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
Hi, this is Jeff Levering with the Brewers Radio Network. Ridgetop Exteriors, Wisconsin's trusted name in home improvement, does more than just top-quality roofing. They're your go-to for maintenance-free siding and energy-efficient windows, too. Ridgetop has expert credentials with leading manufacturers like Pella, James Hardie, and LP Smart Siding. For over 20 years, they delivered exceptional craftsmanship and service. Call Ridgetop Exteriors today or visit ridgetopexteriors.com. Ridgetop Exteriors, where customer service always comes first.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, cold tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% on all in-stock models. This weekend only inside the Exposition Center at Wisconsin State Fair Park.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, you got a big event tonight
I
or
do
tomorrow
have a big
night?
event tonight. I'm excited. If you were in the Madison area, do you remember Monte Ball?
Yes,
Outstanding
running back.
So running back for the Badgers, early, was it 2010 to 2014 or 2011 and 2014, around that time?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Heisman Trophy contender,
Yes.
ended up getting drafted for the Broncos. One thing I didn't know until I'm now doing this event with him tonight, is that during that entire time when he was playing for the Badgers and when he was playing for the Broncos, he was self-medicating his depression with alcohol, and he was an alcoholic, and basically hit his lowest point around the time that he was watching the Broncos win the Super Bowl from a jail cell in Dane County.
Yeah.
And so now he is an advocate for mental health, especially in the Black and Brown communities. And so we are having a fireside chat tonight, at the Cooper's Tavern in Madison. This is a benefit for Journey Mental Health Center. And so I really was not familiar with his story at all until I got invited to come do this with him. And I just think there's a lot there as far as we start learning more about mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. But especially how it can mask in addiction. And I think sometimes when the assumption is, guy just likes to party too much, instead of kind of digging a little bit deeper of all right, what else is actually going on? And also in locker rooms, we got to go to break. But I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, and if folks want to find out about it?
I'm gonna set it up right now as far as being able to, if you go to Journey Mental Health Center, all the event information is there, so I will plug that a little bit later, too.
All right, we're late for the news, but get those questions and ask us anything after the news, which is next on 620 WTMJ.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market and how it affects Wisconsin businesses and residents. Sponsored by the original knowledge broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, uncertainty is everywhere. So let's talk about how these uncertain times may be impacting decisions in the insurance industry.
Thank you, Vince. Great to be here. Uncertainty is having an impact on many important factors in the insurance industry today. The economic uncertainty post-election remains high, mostly due to tariffs and the economy. Many businesses have slowed capital investments until the economic picture becomes more clear. In our business, many insurance companies got healthy in 2024, yet some continue to struggle. And lastly, we've seen more local brokers sell their business or be sold again for a second or third time.
So, Jeff, for folks listening right now, what's the takeaway from all that?
Uncertainty is unsettling for business. Uncertainty around your insurance agent or broker should be unsettling for you as well. If your agent or broker seems distracted, not engaged, or recently sold his or her business, you're adding even more risk to your business when it's not necessary. A properly designed insurance program has never been more relevant, nor more important than today.
All right, Jeff, so why should a business or a family work with R&R Insurance?
Vince, we're celebrating our 50th year in business this year. Stability matters. Working with the owner matters. There are opportunities in today's insurance market. We know where those opportunities lie to save money and improve your insurance coverage. Because we're not for sale, considering a sale, or in the midst of a sale, we're always focused on you, the client. If you're looking for a better insurance purchasing experience, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
At Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage, our closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 less than the banks or the mortgage guys with the Rocket for exactly the same rate. Find out how much you can save at accunet.com.
Loyalty, family. Few things are more important. This is WTMJ's Steve Scafidi and Loyal Family Renovations. They saved the day after a brutal storm in Oak Creek. Hail damage, yeah, I had a lot of it. But Jeff, Jake, and the whole team, absolute pros, made the entire process smooth as can be. Let's be honest, not everyone knows how to deal with adjusters. They handled all the questions, quick answers, top-notch customer service. In just 2 days, my roof was done. If storm damage hits, call the team that made it easy for me. Loyal Family Renovations. Visit loyalfamilyrenovations.com.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Grow by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
The Brewers head to Cleveland Town to get them just a bit outside, and then
Freddie's 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him with a changeup for strikeout number 1,000 in the career of Freddie
our
Peralta.
coverage against the Guardians starts today at 11:35 on your home for the Brewers. 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11:02, we have 59 degrees, isolated afternoon and evening showers inland today after a high of 67 lakeside, 77 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. Federal grand jury has indicted Milwaukee County Judge Hannah Dugan, charged with knowingly concealing a person to prevent arrest and obstruction. Federal prosecutors accused Dugan of directing agents away from Eduardo Flores Ruiz when they tried to arrest him at the Milwaukee County Courthouse in April. Her arrest also prompted the state Supreme Court to temporarily suspend her from the bench. Dugan faces 6 years in prison if convicted on both counts. She's scheduled to appear in court tomorrow. President Trump making a stop in Qatar during his peace and prosperity tour of the Middle East. Today, he announced new deals between Qatar and Boeing and the Department of Defense. Trump also pledged his commitment for peace in the Middle East. He's expected to travel to the United Arab Emirates next. House lawmakers were up all night into the early morning today in a markup session for a budget bill that aims to slash federal spending. It's drawing protests from disabled Medicaid recipients. Here's ABC's Jay O'Brien.
It started yesterday afternoon as lawmakers write this legislation that's all going to be part of President Trump's big, beautiful bill and has changes to Medicaid in it. Those changes include work requirements for various individuals from 19 to 64 years old, higher copays and things of that nature. The goal is to try to make these cuts and get at a larger goal of $2 trillion in cuts across the federal government. So these changes to Medicaid would be in service of that.
Milwaukee Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Brenda Cassellius announces the elimination of 31 positions to streamline the district and provide better resources for schools.
Teachers would argue that we could always lower our case management sizes, but we want to make sure that where there are vacancies, for instance, our deaf and hard and hearing students, there's actually students who don't have a classroom teacher in deaf and hard and hearing. We think they deserve a teacher in their classroom.
The restructuring also includes eliminating all of the regional superintendents. Employees who lost their positions will have the opportunity to reapply again for their jobs. Support from the school board for the new philanthropic funds for the superintendent.
Milwaukee School Board President Missy Zombor is supporting Superintendent Dr. Brenda Cassellius following the creation of the Superintendent Leader Impact Fund. Zombor tells WTMJ that Dr. Cassellius has shown urgency since day one, and the fund reflects her advocacy and efforts to build strong community ties. The fund brings in donations that align with district goals and help address recommendations from a recent operational audit. Zombor says the board will be updated on how the money is used and the outcome it delivers. Nizer Spencer, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow up 16 points, the Nasdaq up 131, the S&P 500 is up 12. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:05.
I'm here to help. This is your WTMJ Fix-It Show host, David Nason, with expert advice for our listeners. If you're dealing with leaks, stains, or cracks in your basement, it's time to call my trusted friends at Accurate Basement Repair. And you know what? You'll get a free expert evaluation on me. You just tell them David Nason, the Fix-It guy, told me to call. Don't let basement issues mess up your home. Trust Accurate Basement Repair to get the job done right. And again, that's Accurate Basement Repair, 414-744-6900 or accuratebasementrepair.com.
70 years ago, the Blaine brothers founded Blaine's Farm and Fleet as one of the nation's first retail stores to sell goods at a discount. And we've helped supply Midwest farms and families with quality products at unbeatable prices ever since. Like $35 off KT designer welding helmets, Hobart Handler 210 MVP MIG welders $150 off, 100-piece Milwaukee Shockwave bit pack-out kits $69.97. Plus, we've lowered our prices throughout the store. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
Imagine trying to take on one of the big car companies. It's not easy. Yet recently, one local law firm finalized the largest compensatory verdict in state history against an automaker, over $38 million. And it was no fluke. That same firm has been holding big car companies accountable for faulty designs that cause injury for over 50 years. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi. Don't miss Capri Community's Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium on Wednesday, June 4th at Elmbrook Church in Brookfield from 8:30 to 3 p.m. This is a free and fun event for older adults 55 plus that celebrates active aging, featuring speakers like John McGivern and Jennifer Bartolotta, exhibitors, goat yoga, speed friending, raffles, food, music, and much more. Make the day your own. Pre-register at enjoylifesymposium.com. That's enjoylifesymposium.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers were shut out by the Guardians for the second straight day. Milwaukee had just 3 hits in its 2-0 loss to Cleveland, clinching a series loss. Teams wrap up their series this afternoon. Packers will host at least one Monday Night Football game this season. The NFL announced that Green Bay will host the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles November 10th. The rest of the league schedule will be released later today. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-43 North, almost a mile beyond I-41 North, is still working that crash. It is blocking the left shoulder, not blocking a lane. It is off left. I-41 South, about a half mile beyond the ramp from County K. Right shoulder blocked due to a broken down vehicle. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Isolated showers this afternoon and this evening inland. High 67 lakeside, 77 inland. We could see some fog overnight with a low 50. Chance of thunderstorms late tomorrow. Some could be severe. High 74 to 83. Just a slight chance of showers and storms on Friday with a high 79. Partly cloudy, breezy, and 65 Saturday, and partly cloudy Sunday with a high 57. 68 in Madison, 72 in Green Bay, 66 in Waukesha, and in Milwaukee we have 59 degrees. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Now it's time for Ask Us Anything on Point Taken. Got a burning question? Give us a call or text on the Siding Unlimited Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620.
All right, welcome to our weekly installment of Ask Us Anything. She's Chris and I'm Steve. Any questions, fair game, and we're not going to answer them all because there's too many questions to answer, but and this is an interesting one. I don't know the motivation. What's the most you ever drank? Well, I drank too much on occasion. I guess that's my answer. I don't know if I'm not going to go into the big story about my Las Vegas experience once because I think I've told it before on here, but I don't want to right this moment. But there are times in my life where I've made bad decisions related to drinking.
Here's a question. Have you ever had alcohol poisoning?
No.
Me either. But I will say the funnier story as far as being someone who was from Wisconsin. I'll be the first one to admit it's shocking to me when I think back of being in high school and being a honor roll student and considered a good kid, and somehow the fact that booze was involved every weekend. I don't know where we got it. Looking back, and I was like, how did we have easy of access to booze all the time? But I will say this as far as the out drinking your state since 1848 motto and the time that I spent in California. By the time I got to college, I was working as a bartender at a bar that was on, a beer and wine sports bar that was on campus. And through that is how I met a lot of the people that I became friends with. And there was a group of guys who were in kind of a nerdier fraternity. So when I say fraternity, I don't want you to think of a typical frat guy. These guys were all the guy that I ended up going on there. He asked me to go to their winter formal. Small Asian young man, became a pharmacist, very sweet. All these guys, very nice guys. So like I said, he asked me to go to their winter formal as a friend. I do. And this is the first winter formal because I transferred, so I was not big in the Greek scene. And by the end of the night, most of the girls who were dates were pretty drunk. Pretty drunk. I was not, despite having drank the whole time. And my date, Adam, goes, see, this is why I asked you. I knew you could hold your booze. And so I would say, I don't know the most I've ever drank, but I have certainly drank a fair amount in my life. I'm drinking less these days because of being a mom, and just I've partied enough in my life. I don't really have a taste for it anymore.
Look, I love red wine, and I love to have a nice Negroni on occasion, and some other drinks too. So I'm not what's the old-fashioned term, teetotaler or whatever, but I'm not proud of the fact that our state is considered the drunkest state.
Some people are very proud.
Yeah, I'm not. So don't put me in that camp. And I'm frankly embarrassed by our state sometimes. So if that's your thing, I'm sorry I've offended you, but I don't like that. I've had a practice, and I didn't do this in college, and thankfully, because when I was going to college in the early 80s, late 70s, not everybody, most people, they drank and then they drove home. And I can remember waking up in the morning, my car is like turned sideways in my parking spot. So that I would never encourage that behavior. And thankfully, partly my wife, because my wife doesn't drink. So I never drink and drive. But it's easy for me because my wife doesn't drink. So I always, when I'm usually out with her, I don't have to worry about it. I also don't drink to excess where I'm going to embarrass myself because I'm still a public person. And my good friend Carol Meekins always reminded me, I don't want to see your face in some sort of incident. She always scolded me in a Carol way. So I've always listened to that. I don't like the sort of the drunk uncle or whatever that
the drink
image.
Wisconsin-ability of it all.
Yeah, I don't like that. It doesn't mean I don't want you to go out and have fun. Have fun, but be responsible, I guess. So for me, I'll take that from the question that you asked. It's not about how much you drink; it's how responsible you are when you do drink. So be careful, because I have known people who have regretted decisions they made, and I know in the case of a family friend, his nephew went to prison for killing someone by killing them when he was drunk. So I mean, there's consequence against. It's sort of a serious answer to a.
Yeah, it's interesting what the intention of the question was.
I don't know.
Is it supposed to be? Was that supposed to be a more fun question or not?
Yeah.
All right. Which one do you want to go to next?
What's our favorite local mascot? Well, Bernie Brewer's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the best. The slide thing. We got to do it last year.
Bango's pretty cool.
Bango's awesome.
Bango's pretty cool.
Bango's a little mysterious,
Let's go Bango.
I've stood next to Bango on occasion, and I felt like a coldness. Like not a warm.
Like he wasn't interested in you?
Yeah, not at all.
All right.
Like I'm curious.
Is that a missed opportunity? Do you feel like, was there ever a part of you that wanted to be a mascot as a profession?
Oh, of course. Because I would be crazy with a mascot costume on, you know that.
I didn't realize that they do this every year, that there's like a reveal when one of the Buckies graduates.
Oh.
They have a big reveal. I think I was on Facebook yesterday, and it's like a zoom in on him. He's wearing the hands, and he's doing a W, and then they zoom out to reveal who it was all these years.
I think I got this right, but a local anchor guy, Ted Perry, was a Bucky.
Ted Perry was a Bucky. I remember there was one of the Buckies interned for my dad. So there's pictures of Bucky came over to our house once, and so there's pictures of me as a kid sitting on Bucky's lap because it was a favor to my dad.
Yeah, all the Badger fans out there, they'd love Bucky, so that would be their most popular mascot. Good questions. We're just getting warmed up on Ask Us Anything. Kristen and Steve. We'll take a quick break here. More of your questions. Get them in. 855-616-1620 on 620 WTMJ after this.
When we're out in your town, come say hi as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show, wherever we may be.
You can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ. Steve's free for Advent. Poor sleep, tossing and turning, restless nights. Is that your story? Shouldn't be. I did something about it. I went to Advent. 30-minute visit. Asked my questions. They answered my questions. They put me at ease. We added in a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined my problem. Sinuses and nasal passages. Very common problem. My friend Jody just had a procedure done, and she's loving the results. After a short procedure, which is all I needed to fix my problem, I'm back to breathing better than ever, and more importantly, sleeping through the whole night. And if you want to wake up refreshed and rested, Or if you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com, schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Anything. AUA instead of AMA, because it used to be Ask Steve anyway.
Yeah.
I guess that was ASA.
Yeah.
But 855-616-1620. Shoot us a text or give us a call. And anything. We just talked about how much. We didn't give a very definitive answer. I don't even know how to answer the most I ever drank because,
too much is the answer.
Yeah,
for me.
there's been days that it was certainly too much.
How about this one? Do you think Trump will stay in office? Yeah.
Till when?
If the question is, will he stay after his term ends? No.
Okay.
Is that the question? I guess we'll have to have the texter update that. Somebody asked if I'm going to Festa. I don't like the earlier times. It used to be in like mid to late July. Now it's like...
What's your favorite of the ethnic festivals?
Well, Festa Italia.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, although Polish Fest the food's amazing at Polish Fest.
I'm trying to think of which. Irish Fest is fun.
They're all fun.
They're all fun. You know my joke about this?
About what the
So
festivals?
a couple years back, I got to MC Milwaukee Records Roast in Milwaukee that they do most years. They didn't do it during COVID, but it's exactly what it sounds like. They have invite comedians, and it's supposed to be jokes about Milwaukee. And at that point, I think I'd lived in Milwaukee for 2 years, and so my kind of bit or my set was about things I've learned since moving to Milwaukee. And I think the joke, I'm kind of probably gonna screw it up, but it was something along the lines like, I've learned that all the ethnic festivals, it's basically like going to Epcot with all Miller Lite beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's at Summerfest, so it's always the same beer no matter what festival's happening.
I don't know if it gets I like Epcot. Every time. Now
It's been a long time since I've gone to Epcot.
So we took our kids every few years to the Disney World experience and then to Epcot. And then we went a couple times, just Kathy and I. We loved Epcot. The food's amazing. You get a glass
it's like
of wine.
going around the world in one trip.
We're walking. We're walking around the big circle that you make, and the Gin Blossoms were playing at Epcot one day, and we sat for like a mini concert. It's like, there's the damn Gin Blossoms.
There you go.
They have a lot of hits, actually.
All right, what do you think about this? This is a more political question. What do you think about the GOP taking out cannabis legalization from the governor's priorities, despite strong public support in multiple referendums?
I used to do whole half hours or hours on this topic because you bring up marijuana in Wisconsin. It's always a hot button issue with people. It seems silly to me because I already know the reality. Friends of mine, people I know, are already consuming marijuana every day in the state. They're, in some cases, driving there. They're doing all the things that they could just do here. So if your argument is it's not happening, you're wrong. And two, why would you not want to capture the revenue from this massive industry?
And I think that's because it's actually been debunked because people have always blamed the Tavern League on this topic. And it's been debunked. They've come out on record and said, the Tavern League, saying, we are not lobbying against this. So it is clearly just the ideology of some of our conservative lawmakers who just do not want to do this. Have you ever been able to kind of crack that egg as figure out what like the hard stance on this is from some people?
It's the slippery slope. I've talked to Robin Voss about this many times in the interviews I've had on over the years on the shows, and he doesn't want to go there because he thinks, as some people do, not a lot of people anymore, because we know the numbers they're way, way off the charts.
How much money we could be making.
Yes. And how popular this idea is in the state among voters and residents. So it's just this idea that the slippery slope that
but
it
it's also
leads to other
the
things.
fact that we don't even have medical marijuana. Right? Like, it's not even just the recreational. It's that we don't even have medical marijuana, which is wild
it's silly and old-fashioned. Somebody asked about Italian sausage. I buy mine at Butcher Block in Oak Creek. Love the place. It's great local. Grappi's in the Bayview area. It's everybody likes.
Are you a Glorioso's fan?
Also a Glorioso's fan.
Have you been there since the new management took over?
No, I have not. But there's a lot of choices.
Is that just because it's too far for you? Because you go south instead of going north?
Well, I'm a South Sider,
All right.
I'm a man of the people on the South Side. But
people in the streets. You're out in these
I'm also a
streets.
fan of Brady Street. I just haven't been up there in a while. And there's, the cookies in that area are fantastic. Trust me.
All right. Big or dislike, mosquitoes or ticks?
Ticks.
I don't think I've ever had a tick.
Oh my God, I've had them embedded in me.
I've never had a tick, like I had to go dig out. So I'll say mosquitoes for lack of knowledge of ticks. I feel like mosquitoes are more prevalent. You're more likely you're definitely going to not get through the summer without a mosquito bite.
Now I will tell you,
get through the summer without a tick bite.
Yes.
Or tick.
Now the last couple of years, mosquitoes have been light by me, like not.
They're never. Having grown up in Madison, which is basically a swamp in a lot of ways. When I think about how humid our summers were in Madison versus being in Milwaukee, which is not, and we have a big lake that is often has a breeze, especially if you live on the east side. The mosquitoes in Milwaukee compared to Madison is night and day.
Somebody asked if we'd have musicians on the show. If it fits, yeah, sure.
A musician?
Yeah, why not? I used to have them on.
Who would you have on?
I had my friends at Harmony, the quartet, barbershop quartet.
Would they play?
They sing, just their voices, no music, no.
So not the Philharmonic then, like a quartet, like an a cappella group.
Yes.
And they sang on the show?
Absolutely. Valentine's Day, Christmas time.
I feel like that'd be a good retirement activity for you.
No.
Just join a barbershop quartet and start doing a little a cappella.
I got stuff to do.
You're a good singer.
Yeah, I got brush clearing to do. Talk about getting ticks. That's why you don't get ticks, so you don't clear any brush.
All right, let's take one more break. Get those questions in. We got to get to the Brewers game. 855-616-1620. Point taken.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. I love Heiser. You know that. I've driven their vehicles for 5 years. And every experience I've had over all the great brands they drive, they always, the same thing that stands out. One, they're great rides, and they always give me the nice ones and the great technology and all that stuff. But it's not just about that. It's all the great programs they have and the experience of driving these vehicles and what you learn about that. And it's a special thing that I always treasure. But here's what they'll do for you. And this is why they're so good at customer service. They make your experience similar to mine. They will match what you're looking for to the vehicle of your dreams, and they'll make sure that happens in the way that you want it to happen. Whether it's a pre-owned vehicle or a new vehicle or ordering a vehicle of your desires, like whatever that is, technology or color, style, all of that stuff, they can make it come true for you. They got all the great programs to protect you, safe and sound, roadside assistance for life, all the great things that they do there. That's why they can say every day, today's your day.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777 or biglou.com.
Discover an unreal treasure this May at Potawatomi. Don't miss your chance to win a share of $300,000 in cash and prizes. Just play with your rewards card for entries. Prize drawings on Thursdays. Unreal treasures this May at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Your win is waiting. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Speaking of Gin Blossoms, I heard him sing this song live at Epcot Center. They were awesome, by the way. I'm not a huge Gin Blossoms fan, but they've cranked out
a great song.
Yeah, they've cranked out some hits. And it was free. relatively speaking, I probably paid $150 to get into damn Epcot. So,
all right, here's a question for you.
Yes.
Would you ever rescue or foster a dog?
No. My wife's allergic to dogs. And fur and dander, all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know that Matic is at capacity right now.
Yes, I'm a huge fan of Matic.
It is crushing. I know Wisconsin's Midday News, I think yesterday, had covered this story. Everything in me wants to go foster a dog right now because you see the crates. They have to space because there's a no-kill shelter and they don't turn away dogs. And they're so over capacity right now that they basically have like 2 dogs to a kennel. And so we have a 14-year-old Chihuahua who's not, he's mostly like when it comes to other dogs, just like leave me alone. We also obviously have a toddler at home. And my heart just wants to go, not get a new dog, but foster a dog. And it's probably not the best solution for our family. But if you can, it's just fostering as far as trying as they get other shelters to step up and take some of these dogs. But Matic definitely needs your help right now. So if you are in the position to be able to help foster or even adopt, please check out Matic.
You can also donate to Matic because those resources are appreciated as well. And there are so many pets out there, and this goes back to some irresponsible pet owners who let their dogs breed and have puppies and everything. Cats, the same thing. It's like at some point, look, I had a beagle for 16 years. Loved that dog. Grew up with that dog. I get how it works. I understand that that's a part of your family, but you also have to be responsible about how you do, not just in the raising of your pet and the care of your pet and the feeding of your pet, but the breeding thing is important. That's not creating more puppies than people can actually adopt or have in their households, and just be responsible with it. And we have so many examples of the opposite of that, and the puppy mills and all that stuff. I want people to be responsible. It could be a part of your family, but do it the right way. That's my message. Somebody asked about scalpers. It's a common thing with collectors.
Well, do this, and then I'm going to do a selfless promotion for my family.
So I'm a card collector. I've got Packers cards going into the late 50s, all the way through the new stuff, and I get my stuff graded by PSA and all that stuff. But there's this practice now where individuals go and they just clear the store shelves of all the boxes of new cards.
Which for a while I felt like different stores were trying to. Is you could only buy X amount per trip.
And there are some stores that do a really good job of protecting the right of young collectors, like kids. They save some of their product for those purchases. I love that fact, so keep doing that. But your husband is very involved in this topic. So speaking of, if you are a collector,
I will do this for free because I love my husband. But the Wisconsin Card Show starts this Friday. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Starts 3 p.m. on Friday. If you go to wisconsincardshow.com. My husband loves cards. It is both. He likes to say he's doing his job because it is an investment, and it's an investment. We'll say that, but he loves it. But this weekend at the Baird Center, and so they have a bunch of athletes coming to sign over the weekend. I don't even know. I'm trying the athletes right now. Who is coming? It's a big event. So they're having Pat Murphy's going to be there. William Contreras is going to be there. Cool. Jackson Churio is going to be there. Freddie Peralta. Sal. This is all on Saturday. So check out WisconsinCardShow.com if you are a collector, if you're a buyer, if you just want to go see these guys in person. But he's been working really hard on this, so I'm excited for them this weekend to finally be here. But that means I'm on like solo mom duty all weekend.
So what's his most valuable card, if you know?
He has something that's worth like over $10,000. I forgot what it is though. Like there's every once in a while because he has some cards that are in like a locked vault at a bank. Mm-hmm. There is a locked vault in our not vault, but like a locked safe thing in our house. He had me carry some the other day and put it into the safe to make sure they're locked away. So I think I forgot as far as what his full investment in cards are, but it is not small. Let's put it that way.
It's a passion that those of us who collect love.
He has a collection for Frankie. He's got a Serena Williams, Caitlin Clark, almost a full set of Pokemon cards. So that's part of her collection.
All right, there's an early Brewers game today, so they need to get scoring some runs because they've been shut out 2 games in a row. But before we get to any of that, here's the latest local news from our own Connie Weber.
Thanks, Steve. One person in custody after a fire at the downtown college. Surveillance video shows the person intentionally set a chair on fire on the third floor of the Student Center at Milwaukee Area Technical College around 6:40 a.m. Tuesday morning before running off. 2 employees quickly put out the fire, but it did trigger the sprinkler system, causing water damage throughout the building. Milwaukee police arrested the suspect later that afternoon and is recommending arson charges. Student Center remains closed on the downtown campus today. The Milwaukee Art Museum's executive director steps down. Marcelle Poldenek ends her tenure at the museum July 31st after nearly a decade. She said it's time for the new leadership to guide the museum's next chapter, but didn't specify any reasons for leaving. The museum's board is starting a global search for their new director. Milwaukee city officials say they're making progress on removing lead pipes. 10,000 have been replaced so far, 65,000 more to go. The goal is to make a dent in that number, replace 3,600 lines by the end of the year. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is down 51 points. The Nasdaq up 139. The S&P 500 is up 9. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver. Traffic working a crash I-43 north about a mile beyond I-41 north. This is off left. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, possibly isolated showers today, high 67 to 77, overnight low 50, storms possible tomorrow, high 74 to 83, Friday 79, Saturday 65, and Sunday 57. I'm Connie Weber, out.
With the trees budding and the flowers blooming, take a beautiful drive this week through the Kettle Moraine Forest for a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It is the most unique and affordable dining destination in Wisconsin, and your second dinner's free. Order your favorite steak, seafood, the pan-fried walleye, a fresh salad, steak and lobster, even prime rib on Wednesdays. Any entree, your second dinner is free. Desserts, my favorite part of dinner.